Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Zero Dark Nerdy, the world's most notorious pop culture podcast. We're doing a little collaboration episode. This is your boy Brian, a.k.a. El Nino. Today, I am joined with...
So normally, right, when we do Zero Dark Nerdy episodes, I do the whole, Captain Cleveland, Browns, Cavs, Indians. Them fucking Indians are on fire right now. But because this is a crossover episode and I'm technically representing the Watercooler, I'm going to say that my name is Ryan Saba, the most electrifying voice in sports information. And with me, as always...
What up? It's me. It's Lukey C, a.k.a. the Crockpot. What are we talking about today, fellas?
What are we talking about, B-Hearn?
So, the 99 Club came out from Madden. Obviously, we're in the middle of COVID, so hopefully we have a football season. If not, Madden's going to be pretty much all we have. So we're going to talk about the 99 Club for this year. Maybe some snubs, some people that should have been on there. Probably go over maybe some of our favorite Madden games and, just sports games in general.
I like it. Don't forget, we're going to talk about guys that are overrated. And I think there may be two on my list on that picture behind you.
Oh, Lord. I knew that was going to happen, but we'll see. I got my stats to back that shit up.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
You want to go ahead and talk about the who's on the 99 Club for this year? Also,
yeah, I can.
I do want to give a big shout out. Yeah. One of the members of the 99 Club is Christian McCaffrey, Carolina's very own. And big shout out to our boy Jex, who was invited out by EA to do a cool little mural for them. So if you go to the EA website or check out Jex on Instagram, you can actually see his amazing portrait that he did of Christian McCaffrey. So sorry to interrupt, but go ahead.
And shout out to Christian McCaffrey, his wife, bro. Like play. Like I was looking through Jax's stuff and it kind of took me down a rabbit hole a little bit. And I was like, I wonder if Christian McCaffrey's married. Oh, he's married. So check that out for all you guys out there. Let's talk about the 99 Club. I think one thing that's really interesting, I think Madden does it right. There shouldn't be more than one guy rated at 99 at any position. And I think they do a good job of doing that. I think, it's a status. They're doing it. You saw this year, and I think this is the first year that they did it, where they sent out the kits and had the teammates surprise them with the 99 Club thing. So I think Madden's really doing it right. If you look at who's in the 99 Club this year, you got Pat Mahomes at quarterback. You got Stephon Gilmore at cornerback. You got can't guard Michael Thomas at wide receiver. You got, Christian McCaffrey, like we talked about, run CMC. And then we got just the absolute beast of a man, Aaron Donald at defensive tackle. Is there anybody that you guys think that maybe isn't on that list that should be? Because I got a couple guys that I was thinking about.
Did somebody say playoffs?
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
That's right. NBA, Major League Baseball, and NHL are in full swing, and our partners at BetOnline have you covered. I'll tell you what, after that last Mavs and Clippers game, my money is definitely going on the Mavs moving forward. That team is young, dangerous, and hungry. So take full advantage of sports being back and get in on the action with hundreds of odds, futures, and props for you to bet on. And there is always the online casino as well, as it never closes. So head to betonline.ag today and sign up to receive your welcome bonus on your first deposit. Again, that's betonline.ag and sign up today. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Luke, you want to go ahead and take this one?
Yeah, I'll start. I've only got one on in this category for that. I am a big Michael Thomas guy. I think you guys know I'm an Ohio State fan. I'm just not sure that he's the one guy at that position that should be there. Look, the guy is incredible. He had an amazing year last year. He had like 1,900 yards. He's been good for a while. He's good. But the thing is I think it's got to be Julio Jones. I just think that he's the best receiver in the NFL. I know there's always a thing he doesn't score touchdowns. I think that could be a little bit fluky, although over the course of a 10-year career or how long he's played in here and he not yet to have a double-digit touchdown season is kind of surprising. But, Thomas only had 9 last year. I think Julio had 6. But, to me, it's just Julio's the only guy that I could think of. And I kind of agree with you, Saba, when you say one guy from each position. I definitely get that. And I think we'll talk about this in a little bit about just how many total guys. So I'll save that take. But Julio's really the only guy that I think, I don't have a problem with any of the other guys there.
What do you think, B?
To be honest with you, I really do agree with that. He's the most consistent. I believe he's coming off of 6 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Looking at his numbers now, Michael Thomas did lead the league in receiving with 1,725. Julio right behind him with 1,394. And yeah, the touchdown thing is fluky because you got guys like Kenny Galladay and Cooper Kupp with 11 and 10 touchdowns, but their yards aren't as good as those two guys. So I would agree. I think Julio, he's hovered around that 99 area for Madden, but he always seems to get stuck on 98 and 97. It would be great to finally see him break through. I would have liked to have seen him add a tight end to this. And my thing is, of course, you're going to have to compare like Kittle and Kelsey, both monsters at that position. To me, if I have to choose one to, tight end to get in the 99 club, I would definitely pick Kelsey. He had 1,229 yards last year. He was number 4 wide receiver in the league, number 4. So
Killer Trav.
Yeah. So, and then he had the 5 touchdowns. So that to me is really my main snub from the 99 club. It would be great to see, a tight end get a little bit more respect in that. He's still rated very, very high. I believe he's a 90. I think in Madden,
96.
Kittle is a 97 or 98, and Kelsey's right below him. But that to me is really just my main snub is not seeing a tight end. If either one of those made it, that would have been great. But if it had to be one, I would have gone with Kelsey.
Killer Trav from tight end U. Cincinnati is a good one. He is an Ohio native, Cavs fan, friend of show. Look, I like Julio. I think he's a good player. I think you just saw maybe yesterday, right? Like players in the NFL voted him as the best wide receiver. I think you could probably make an argument for DeAndre Hopkins as well. But the 3 guys that I really looked at were, Bobby Wagner at middle linebacker. I think that, Bobby Wagner has been a really, really good player for a really long time. I think he's one you can look at. Look, J.J. Watt is still red Grange. He still can dominate a football game. His health has been a little bit of an issue lately, last few years. He's a guy that I look at. And then no love for the big heavies. I think you could take a look at maybe a guy like Zach Martin, rank him at 99. There are no offensive linemen at 99. So I'd like to see, a little bit of love there.
Yeah, I don't disagree with really any of those. The thing is with tight ends, though, I just didn't think, and I'm glad that they don't just take a guy from each position. Yeah, so right. I am glad that they didn't just put Kittle or Kelsey in there. Not that I'm going to say, yeah, I don't think they're deserving. Not that I think they're bad, but I think those guys are in that 98, 97 range. Neither one of them are Gronk, and that was really the gold standard. And yeah, probably the best tight end of all time, so maybe that's too high of a standard to hold them to. But if you don't have a 99, you don't have a 99 at that position, so I don't have a problem. I thought about offensive linemen. I went through them, and Zach Martin was the name I saw. I don't know, man. I couldn't find anybody that really just leapt off the page to me. And as far as Bobby Wagner goes, I'm okay with. He's a really good player. I'm just not sure. I'm okay without a linebacker, and I'm okay without a safety on there too. So
no, I'm good with it.
Right.
Those are guys that I could look at. When you take a look at sort of the best guys at their position, definitely. I think those guys sort of stick out to me. There's other guys, right? But maybe they're just not there yet, right? Like a Myles Garrett or anybody. I don't want to go down the road of starting to call out, but that takes us into, underrated, overrated. You guys want to do the good first or the bad first? Let's talk about the guys that are underrated. Maybe the guys that should have been rated a little bit higher that weren't. And just a couple thoughts there.
As far as ones that I would have liked to see a little bit higher, I got to be let me not start with that one. Tyreek Hill, I think, is a monster. He's definitely hovering. He's a 96, so it's not like he was rated terrible. He did miss 4 games last year, but I would not be surprised if Tyreek Hill is in the 99 club next year. Besides that, my boy Fletcher Cox doesn't seem to get a lot of love. I mean, he's rated a 96, but he held that defense down last year. We all know how terrible the NFC East was. Don't get me wrong, but somebody had to come out winning, and we won against a very healthy Dallas team to make the playoffs. And then, we can attribute a lot of that to my boy over here. It is over here behind me, Fletcher Cox. Besides that, I do think there's a couple people, and I'll kind of just go back and forth here that got maybe a little bit too much love. To me, Davante Adams, I don't see him being a 94. To me, he's more of an 89, 91. There's just not much, I know, Luke, you talked about flying off a page. To me, he had a pretty decent year last year. I believe he had 970 yards, so almost had 1,000 yards receiving. But, I thought 94 was a little bit high for that. And, I mean, that's pretty much what I got. I would have liked to honestly seen Chris Jones actually get a little bit more than 92. I think he's one of the best defensive tackles in the game. I would have liked to see him be more in the upper, 95, 96 area. So that's kind of what I got as far as rankings. And I don't want to get started on Carson Wentz. We'll save that for the end of the show because I got some shit to say about that.
Oh, I can't wait.
I got 2 on the underrated list. Number 1 for me would be talking about the big heavies is Quentin Nelson at a 94. I'm not sure that he's not the best guard in the game.
Right.
Again, I know it's not a sexy thing to talk about, but that guy's insane to watch. He's fun, and I know I saw like some of the stuff on Twitter about Cam Hayward. Gave him a little bit of the business last year, and that was a good game. But I'm with Quentin Nelson. I wish he was a little bit higher than 94, and then do a little Greensboro love here. Keenan Allen. You're talking about Twitter a little bit. Yeah. They went back and forth. He went at it with I think Mike Evans, Chris Godwin.
Yeah,
because he tagged the wrong Chris Godwin.
I'm not sure he's the best wide receiver in the game like he thinks. I love the confidence. I think he's every bit in their class, and I think he might be better than Mike Evans, and I think it remains to be seen on Godwin. But 91, I feel like he's definitely low. He should definitely be a little bit higher than that.
Yeah. Right now he is number 10 on the Madden list with a 91, right behind Evans and OBJ and Stephon Diggs too. I thought got a little bit too much love last year, to be honest.
I'll get into that.
So
did you do, Luke? You did underrated first, right?
Yeah.
All right. So for me, you guys talk Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans at a 92 is really underrated. He's rated the same as Amari Cooper and Stephon Diggs. I think he should be at a 94 with Davante Adams. I do think Davante Adams should be ranked that high. Davante Adams is a really good football player. I think Deshaun Watson at an 86. I think he's rated way too low. Is he a 99? No. Is he low 90s? I think maybe 92, 93. I think you'd be hard pressed. There's in my opinion, there's only 5 quarterbacks in the NFL that are better than Deshaun Watson, and one of them is not a guy that is on my overrated list, so we'll get there in a minute. Jack Conklin of the Cleveland Browns, he's ranked 78. He needs to be probably in the mid-80s. I'm reading a note here. I don't know. I wrote a bum like Derrick Henry. So Jack Conklin made a bum like Derrick Henry win the rushing title last year. So I think, when you look at some of the guys that I think he's in the same category with, you got guys like Mike McGlinchey, you got guys like Trent Brown, you got guys like Lyle Collins who are all up there in the mid 80s. And I think he's every bit of in that category. And the last guy, is Cam Newton. He's ranked 78, right between Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen.
Right.
I think he needs to be a little bit higher. Look again. Does he? Is he? A 90? No, probably not. But I think he's in the mid 80s. I think he's in 84 and 85. I think he's a guy that's right up there with a Deshaun Watson, where they have Deshaun Watson ranked. But yeah, those are the guys that I think are underrated. Luke, who you got that's overrated?
We can start. You want to talk about the 99 Club guy that's overrated?
Who you think, Stephon Gilmore?
No, it's Christian McCaffrey. It's simply because of his position. Okay, I just don't think the position warrants anything that makes it that important.
He hates running backs.
Well, just real quick, he is the first running back.
No. He hates running backs.
Oh, well, no, but he also is the first
problem.
running back to get a 99 rating since AP in the Madden 25 game back in 2014. So it's been a while since a running back has gotten 99.
Yeah, and look, don't get me wrong. The guy is incredible, had a great season. He, produces as a receiver. So there is a lot of value there. Just not sure that – we'll see. We'll see if it's sustainable. I just don't think that these types of seasons are sustainable. We talked about it on our quarterback rankings with Lamar Jackson a little bit and, sustainability. So we'll see. I just don't think that those type of numbers are sustainable. But
coming out next week, by the way,
yeah.
Quarterback Power Rankings, second annual at WC Sports Pod. I'll holler at your boys. And
for one more, we'll go overrated. I'll go Cooper Kupp at an 89. It's not a terrible overrate, but I know he had 11 or 10 touchdowns, wherever he said last year, and I just think everything in that offense is manufactured.
Beher, you got anybody else you want to touch on that's overrated, or you want me to go ahead?
No, just real quick. And I mean, it's no surprise. I've never really been a big fan of this dude. I still think Richard Sherman's overrated with a 92.
92? Rating. Absolutely. No question.
Yeah, I think it's absurd. I mean, we saw in the Super Bowl exactly what can happen to that guy. And we all know this. Most cornerbacks are great because of the system that they are in. I'm not saying San Francisco has a bad system. He had a phenomenal system in Seattle, which helped him shine. But, on one-on-one situations and the quarterback actually has a couple seconds to throw the football, that man, he's been getting torched for the last couple years now. So I think 92 is a little high for Sherman. I'm going to go, upper 80s at the most, like an 88, 89. But 92 for Richard Sherman I thought was incredibly a big stretch, to be honest.
He had a really good year last year. Now, look, we saw the Super Bowl. Super Bowl was not great for him. He does have trouble with those smaller speed guys because he is a bigger guy and he's getting up there in age. But he did have a really good year last year. Just it's tough to defend all those guys in Kansas City. I mean,
that's what I was going to say. Most corners have trouble. Most corners and safeties have trouble with the 4x100 Olympic relay team, which is what they got.
Yeah, but I don't have a poem there. But
for me, overrated. I talked about a bum like Derrick Henry. I think Derrick Henry at 93 is the guy runs upright. He takes shots. He's not going to be around a long time.
Rushing leader.
The
rushing leader. I thought you said the running backs matter. He was the rushing leader.
The only reason that he won the rushing title is because Nick Chubb's the best. Is whatever. Don't even get me going there. But he's a 93. I think he's somewhere. You got Aaron Jones at 90. You got Joe Mixon at 89. I think that I would probably put Derrick Henry at 89. Lamar Jackson, he went from 76 to 94. I get it. He's the cover athlete. Guys, let's pump. And Luke's going to say it. He's the MVP of the league. Let's pump the brakes on Lamar Jackson. The league often has ways of auto-correcting. See Robert Griffin III. I think let's pump the brakes on him a little bit to put him on the cover of Madden and rank him. Huh?
How many times did he lift the MVP trophy? Because we're talking about a big difference between Rookie of the Year and the league MVP.
He won. Didn't he win the same amount of playoff games though? My next guy is Fletcher Cox at 96, 3.5 sacks, 10 quarterback pressures. Pretty pedestrian stats for a guy who's supposed to be, a quarterback pressuring defensive tackle. Do I think he's in the 90s? Sure. I think he's 91, 92, somewhere in that range. I think that just 96 is a little bit too high. You talked about Chris Jones. I think Chris Jones is every bit the player that Fletcher Cox is, and they had him ranked at a 92. So, that's, I put him there.
I mean,
last but not least.
Yeah, no, his number. Oh, I'm sorry, man. Go ahead.
At 84.
Ooh.
Guy that's never won a playoff game. Guy that really doesn't stay healthy very often. Doesn't really make his teammates around him better. He had one good half season, and that's Carson Wentz.
I
think
fucking knew it.
You got Baker Mayfield, 78. You got Josh Allen at 78.
Why are you talking about those two? They're not on the same level.
No.
I think
Those
that
two are not anywhere near.
No.
Wait a minute.
And never even had close to an
Hold
MVP
on.
caliber season.
Hold on. I'm using them as a barometer. Okay.
Why? They're not close.
I should have just brought
Josh
the bottle
Allen
of
won a
fucking
playoff
whiskey over
game.
here.
You know, I think
No, he didn't actually. He lost.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was my Deshaun Watson argument. I would put Carson Wentz probably in the 80, 81 range. I just think that he's just we talked about, we had our quarterback ranking. I don't want to give too much away, but I think based on what I said there, listen to that, you'll get. Look, I've been wrong about a lot of players in my time. I've been wrong about a lot. I'm not wrong about this one. Fool's gold, baby. Fool's gold.
I tell you, man, Carson Wentz is the Rodney Dangerfield of the NFL.
That's not even true.
He gets no respect at all whatsoever. All right, he threw for 4,000 yards last season. Not a single player on that team had over 500 yards receiving. First off, led the team to the playoffs, got knocked out by a cheap shot from Fuckbag in Seattle. Went straight diving down in the helmet.
That wasn't.
And I'm not saying we would have made a deep playoff run. I'm not even saying we would have won the Super Bowl. But you got to understand, too, the guy is a number 9 rank, like as far as stats go. He's ahead of Patrick Mahomes as far as yards and touchdowns. So he's not that terrible. I mean, I'm looking at the stats right now. Carson Wentz has 4,039 passing yards. Mahomes has 4,031. He threw one more touchdown than Mahomes. He's at 27 and 26 and only threw 7 picks to Mahomes' 5. So you're talking about Super Bowl MVP, guy that led his team to the Super Bowl, guy that led to his team to the playoffs with a practice squad. I mean, come on, to give the guy an 81, 82, I think that's incredibly unfair. To do what he did with very, very little last year, if that was any other quarterback, everybody would have been like, oh, well, his team was trash. And I mean, yeah, he was working with practice squad players halfway through the season. And before he did get hurt on our Super Bowl run, that guy, if he would have stayed healthy, he would have won MVP that year. His numbers were phenomenal, and that's why they signed him to the contract they did. So I think with healthy players, I guarantee you we'll have a different conversation next year. And yes, of course, the knock on him, will he stay healthy? He stayed healthy last year. And
they
like
went
I said, yes, the NFC East
and they
was
lost
terrible.
another playoff game.
Well, and the NFC East was terrible, but we still beat a very healthy Dak Prescott, who's in a lot of people's top 10 list, and a very healthy Cowboys team, along with Fletcher Cox. Again, I don't think Fletcher Cox gets that much respect because, yes, his numbers were not great last year because he got double-teamed a shitload because we had a lot of injuries on the defensive side. So it's going to be a lot easier to double-team a guy like that when you don't have Chris Long, when you got Barnett hurt. You know what I mean? So, of course, his numbers aren't going to be inflated as when you have to worry about that almost hockey-like line that the Eagles were rotating in and out when they won the Super Bowl that year. So that's just
five of their 8 wins came against their division.
Right.
2 of those teams picked that they won 4 games against, picked in the top 4.
We also lost, I believe it was 5 games by 7 points or less, and 3 of them would have been won if Aguilar knew how to catch a fucking football.
Like Aguilar.
Like Aguilar.
Look, we can this Carson Wentz debate is going to rage on because I'm never
report on this.
I won't be wrong here. Trust me. History will show that I'm right.
We'll see. Hey, and I love Bake. Bake brings a lot of entertainment on the field, but you can't rank him higher than Carson, though.
I didn't.
I know.
I just used it as a barometer.
It was just a very bad barometer.
You know what?
And nobody loves Baker Mayfield more than me.
Bullshit. You're a fucking fraud. All right, let's move to.
So before we got on the mic here, I told the guys that I pulled up on good old ranker.com. They have the Madden list, as far as best to worst. So I'll go over. We'll start with the top 5 and go from there. So number 1 is Madden NFL 2004, the one with Vic on the cover, which to me, it's one of the more fun Madden games. But I love that they had number 2 be Madden NFL 2005, which is the one with Ray Lewis on the cover. because I don't know if you guys remember this. The defensive schemes changed drastically by the time it got to the Ray Lewis cover.
Yeah.
And that's when a lot more people started focusing more on the defensive side of the ball than just running NFL blitz type packages on Madden games. Number 3, we got Madden NFL 2008. That's the one with Vince Young on the cover. And apparently Luis Castillo of the San Diego Chargers is on the Spanish language version of that.
Nice.
Which did not know was a thing.
Shout
Number
out to
4,
Luis.
your boy, Peyton Hillis on the cover of Madden NFL 2012. And rounding out the top 5, Madden NFL 10, and that's the one with Palumalu and Fitzgerald on the cover from the Super Bowl before.
Yeah. For me, the one that I thought, I mean, obviously I've been playing Madden since it was on Sega Genesis, so I've owned the game every year. But I thought the one that really one of the knocks on Madden is there's not a lot of changes year over year. And I thought the one that really where you saw the largest advancement, and this is just my opinion, was when the PlayStation 2 came out.
Yeah.
So we're talking maybe 99, 2000. That first edition on PlayStation 2 was like, I just remember, like, man, we spent when that game came out, man, we were on that for months and just nonstop. And to me, that's the one that there was just the biggest leap.
I liked definitely liked 04 and 05. Although Vic was basically a cheat code.
Yeah.
And I loved because I loved 05 with the that's when they really started to let you control more of the defense too. So a lot of user picks and stuff like that. I think that's when they had the hit stick was right around there too, when they brought that in. And then my least favorite was 06 when they had that dumbass vision passing cone for the quarterbacks. You guys remember that?
I do, because that was the one that had McNabb on the cover. Hated the fucking pass.
That was my least favorite. It was just terrible all around. But
and then there was the one year when you threw a pick, you could rewind it back. You remember that?
No.
So there was like once a game, if you made a mistake, you could go back and rewind the play.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Got like a mulligan.
Yeah.
So as far as, other, mine, like I said, those are my top 2, 04, 05. Like I said, offensively, you're right. I mean, playing with Atlanta and Vic, I mean, unless you were doing some kind of a defense where you could have a linebacker shadow Vic, I mean, it was a wrap. If the wide receiver's not open in 3 seconds, you just run to the left, run to the right, first down after first down. And then, with the Ray Lewis cover, the defensive scheme change, that was the first year for the hit stick. It made playing defense a lot of fun, to be honest with you. Everybody used to dread playing defense on these games, and now with the audibles and just kind of switching over and I think that was the first time too where you could really kind of send, your own package blitzes too, if you wanted to send a cornerback and then you go over and cover. So defensively, it was almost as much fun as being on offense, and I think that's where it really started to evolve going down the road.
If you think that Mike Vick was a cheat code in 04, wait till you fucking play with Pat Mahomes this year. So I was watching a demo version of it. No fucking bullshit. They were on the 30-yard line. He fucking, snapped the ball, did the thing where he circles around and runs to the left. In the game, doesn't set his feet, and he's still running and throws a fucking 70-yard bullet into the end zone.
There's going to be a lot of people playing as the Chiefs this year.
No. Listen, I understand the guy's got a strong arm, okay? But fucking Christ, it's supposed to be realistic.
Hey, it's also a video game, man. Come on.
Whatever.
So speaking of games, obviously we know
he's
this year.
throwing a 70-yard bullet pass into the end zone. What's Josh Allen doing? Because he's got the strongest arm in the game. He's the only guy who can throw power.
And I will be playing with Buffalo.
So he's throwing it end zone to end zone.
I'm kind of sweet on Josh Allen. I don't know what it is. He just kind of reminds me of like a less talented version of Cam.
Well, you're a Browns fan. You got a thing for bad QBs.
So as far as other sports games, we got the news this year that they're remastering Tony Hawk Part 1 and 2, I believe, for the PlayStation 5 as well as PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. What other sports games would you guys really like to see just remastered, with the graphics and the 4K, 8K, everything that we have now that we just had a bunch of fun playing back in the day that we'd love to see with just better graphics?
I'm not sure what I'd like to see come back as with better graphics, but I think my favorite game of all time, which is funny because it's my least favorite sport now, but it'd be Griffey baseball. Nice. I love Ken Griffey baseball. That one. NFL Blitz, I know that's fun and free arcade. Like, I'm not going to say NBA Jam because I think that belongs in an arcade, but I had so much fun playing NFL Blitz on the PlayStation 2 with my roommates my first year in college. We just sit there and play that game until like 4 or 5 a.m. That and NCAA. But, those two games for sure, Blitz and Ken Griffey baseball for sure.
I preferred NFL Street to NFL Blitz. I don't know, just something about the format where it was like 3-on-3, right? Yeah,
there was 3 linemen, and then you had like 2 wide receivers and a quarterback.
Yeah, something about that format I really liked. I really think they need to bring back NFL 2K. You got to, that's when there was 2 football franchises, that's when you kind of saw the games getting better year over year. There's no reason for Madden to really improve outside of some slight changes of the mechanics and things like that in rosters. That's really it. But, you talked about it, NCAA football. Obviously, the reason why we don't have the NCAA football series anymore is because of 2 college basketball players, believe it or not. Charles and Ed O'Bannon, who sued the NCAA for likeness infringement and all that. I play NCAA football right now. I purchased during the pandemic. I purchased the 2012 version because I could get that for $40. And if you want the 14 version, that's got Denard Robinson on it from Michigan, which is the last version. You're paying like $140 for that game.
Jeez.
And I talked about this a couple weeks ago on our last episode of the Watercooler at WC Sports Pod. So Barstool Big Cat is doing this thing where he created this Coach Duggerton, and he's playing this game on Twitch every night, and he's just getting like thousands of people watching it. So I said, you know what, I'm going to start doing? I'm going to start playing. I talked about it. I started at Cincinnati. I went 5 seasons at Cincinnati. I won the national championship in my 5th year. Michigan came calling. I had to go to become the offensive coordinator. I text Luke randomly about this too. Sometimes he responds and sometimes he doesn't. So sometimes I think he just kind of responds to me because he's a nice guy and he wants me to think that we're friends and all that.
Don't tease him, Luke. Don't tease him.
So I transferred. So I went to Michigan. I had to be the offensive coordinator because I was just the head coach at UC. I won 3 national championships in 5 years. 2 Heisman Trophy winners at running back. I broke Barry Sanders' record for yards and touchdowns one year with a kid. But I couldn't – no big schools. I'm like, all right, I had not my eye on Texas and USC. No schools would offer me. The best deal I had was from Georgia. And in this game, Georgia's not very good. So I'm like, I'm going to wait for some of these big powerhouse schools to come. They wouldn't. So I just texted Luke the other night. I said, breaking news so I took Coach Jack Barrett is his name, took our talents to Lincoln, Nebraska. Lincoln, Nebraska. We're bringing the Cornhuskers back to dominance. Not so great to start out. I'm about 6-7 games in the season. I got smoked by Oklahoma. I got smoked by Penn State, but I turned around and beat Michigan, a little revenge game by 1 touchdown. They were the number 1 team in the country. So that was the last game I played last night. So when we get done with this, I'm going to get back into it.
Sounds like what's going on for real down there with Scott Frost. Everyone's real excited for the new guy, and he's just not very good yet.
Hey, man, I beat the number 1 team in the country. Here's the problem. I'm only able to get 3-star recruits. So it's going to be tough to sustain that. There's going to have to be a lot of development, a lot of down years. So anyway, I went down that whole diatribe about NCAA football, but that's the one that I would bring back. Luke, you talked about some of your favorite games. What about you, B-Hearn?
I was a big fan of the EA Sports Big division. This was back when EA was running shit. This was, SSX Tricky. Probably one of the best action sports, let alone probably the best snowboarding video game of all time. I would love to, see a remaster of that. And EA Sports Big also did NBA Street. Volumes 1 and 2 are probably still to this day two of my favorite basketball. I mean, there's NBA Jam, which was always fun and fantastic. Just like Luke said, I think that's more arcade. But at home, NBA Street, especially when you're doing the double and triple alley-oops, and you're playing with Skip to My Lou and all these street court guys, and you can incorporate some NBA players in there. Just a lot of fun. And just as far as just other games, football games that aren't Madden, I was a big fan. I think this might have been the Genesis, maybe PlayStation 1, but I think it was Sega Genesis. Deion Sanders Primetime Football. Yep. That one was a blast. I literally created the entire Wu-Tang Clan was my whole defensive front. So, and of course I created myself as the quarterback, the wide receiver, and the running back. But that was a fun game. And there was a Joe Montana football that came out, which
that's on my list. I was going to talk about that.
Do you remember? It was one of the only games I've seen to where when you were obviously when you're the quarterback and hike it, your wide receivers would be on the top corners of the TV, and you could.
Well, that's how Madden was.
They were open. Yeah.
No, they stole that from Madden. That's how Madden was back in the day on Sega. There would be 3 windows where you could just kind of see your guy running. So, I talked about NCAA. Bill Walsh, my other ones. It takes me back to when I was a kid. Not to tell too many sob stories here, but when I lived in Ohio. We lived out kind of in the country. So and for kids these days, you're going to look at me I got white in my beard. We didn't have cable on my street. And this is before DirecTV and satellite dishes. So we had a rotor on our roof. We had an antenna on our roof, man. We got Fox, NBC, ABC, CBS, and PBS. That's it. So, and it wasn't like today when there was shows on all the time. So I played a lot of video games. So my Genesis got a lot of run. Bill Walsh College football on the Genesis 94 and 95. That's pre-NCAA football. That's pre all that. That was I still have it upstairs. I still have Bill Walsh 95 upstairs. You can play with all the legendary teams, Auburn with Bo Jackson and Oklahoma State with Barry Sanders and all that. There's some great teams on there, a lot of really fun teams. And you talked about Joe Montana Sports Talk Football in 93. They changed it to NFL in 95 and 96, or 94 and 95. So 93, it was Joe Montana Sports Talk Football. And then 94, he went to the Chiefs. And they changed the name of the game, but it was still him on the cover with the Chiefs. But that 93 version, that game got a lot of fucking run, man. And I was so good at that game that I could there was a camera angle where you could – it was like the Goodyear blimp angle, where it was that little game that vibrates and the players kind of right. It was kind of like that in video game version. And I was so good at that game that I would fuck around and just be like, all right, let me go ahead and fucking try this. And I ended up playing full games like that. So that's a game that I played a lot. I still got that upstairs. And then non-football World Series baseball again on the Genesis. Boy, man, I fucking full seasons, man. 162 games, 10 years, man. Fuck out of here.
Yeah, and that's the one too where you could also do the minor league shit too, and you could speed through and create your player and have them come up through the farm system and all that.
That was down the road. That was World Series, once you got to 96 or 97. I'm talking about the original. That came out in 1994.
Gotcha.
All they had on that was Home Run Derby, man.
My shit was Bases Loaded 2 for the original Nintendo. That was one of my, and there was no real teams on there. It was all made up teams where you could create your own players and do all that stuff. So
and you created yourself.
Of course. You want to be your own superstars as a kid growing up, and we'll see what these next generation consoles have. I mean, I think before we wrap up here, I think eventually it's going to kind of be like Hollywood, where we're going to see a lot of remakes and remasters of old fun video games, and because it's not going to cost a ton to do it. I mean, as far as the graphics and that, you don't have to worry about doing the storyline, this, that, and the other. So. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. And, I mean, obviously it's for a whole new episode when, we get closer to the PS5 coming out and whatever. They changed the name of the Xbox, right? It was supposed to be the Project Scarlet. Now it's
Project Xbox.
Now it's going to be something else, right?
Well,
It was Project Scarlet, and they scrapped
it's
it.
the Xbox Project X, I think, or
some shit like that.
yeah.
But we'll see. It'd just be, to me, it'd be fun to see a lot of these old school games kind of, it's not like they got to be fully remastered, but just, come up, keep up with the times a little bit, or at least be able to download the old school versions of them and be able to play them. I mean, to make it easier on everybody.
It's tough. The NCAA games, they can't do it because of that licensing bullshit. So you can't
we'll
even.
See, though, now players can sign endorsements. So we'll see. We'll see what that can do.
You think that's going to lead to potentially them bringing it back?
I don't know, man. You'd have to pay a lot of those guys for their names to be in it. You could do
pay
it
all of them,
right? I mean, you're not going to put some of them in and then recreate other guys. So I don't know, but there is an avenue for that now. At least it's it's somewhat feasible.
Yeah, they're good.
Do you remember when I think they did this on Madden? The players they would have all the big name players, and then the shitty dudes. Right? They would just be right guard 64. You know what I mean? They wouldn't have their name or whatever, but they would have their rankings pretty close. I think they could, I don't know. I really want them to bring back NCAA football in the worst way.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, it's like those PGA games, which I should have mentioned before. Tiger Woods has been gone for a while. I think the last version was 15 when it was Rory McIlroy was the cover.
Mm-hmm.
I believe EA did that one.
Yep.
But now 2K is coming out with one this August. But they can do it in a limited fashion because they have 12 guys in it. So they only have to pay those 12 guys.
Right.
So it's
not to get too much into that, because I think we are going to do an episode on that. But I was seeing the courses. It ain't Tiger, I'll tell you that.
No, but it is actual courses and tournaments now, and they have we'll get into it at a later time.
Yeah. But that's one thing that I saw. There weren't a lot of courses that a lot of big name courses that stuck. There's no Augusta on there, right?
No, I mean, I don't think you'll ever see that again. But we'll talk more about it on our show when we get to it. Okay. But yeah, that's
at WC Sports Pod.
And the graphics have not come far since 2015. If you look at that video.
Yeah.
Look, I'm excited for the game because I'm a big Tiger guy, but it doesn't look like real golf.
Well, Tiger's not on it. I think probably we'll talk. We're doing it. I don't want to talk about it.
Well, for those of you listening, this has been a great cross episode. For Zero Dark Nerdy fans, listen on the Zero Dark Nerdy page. Saba, Luke, how can they find you guys? I know you just started the YouTube page, obviously SoundCloud, but, give a little bit of feedback on the social media, all that fun stuff.
Go ahead, buddy.
At WC Sports Pod on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Watercooler Sports Pod. We'll put all our episodes. We've been putting all our episodes there. You get the audio version on SoundCloud, and then you can find us there on social.
Excellent. As always, you can check out Zero Dark Nerdy, all social media formats. Just type in Zero Dark Nerdy. Same thing with the YouTube page. Be sure to like both of our podcasts and our shows, especially on YouTube. Like, subscribe, give us some comments. Any episodes you want to hear on the sports side of it, definitely let Luke and Saba know. Anything pop culture. I forgot his name for a second. No, I'm just kidding. Anything pop culture wise, let us know. We're definitely going to collab more often as the year goes on. We're in uncertain times with COVID, so we might as well have some fun, knock out some episodes, and incorporate the pop culture aspect with sports, because at the end of the day, it's all shit that all of us love and love talking about.
Well, this is the second time we've done this, right?
Yeah, we did the first one on football movies, right?
Yeah, if you guys like this, go back and listen to our episode on football movies.
That's right. Yeah,
we can do some more stuff there. Talk about sports TV shows, other sports movies.
We definitely got to do one on sports docs. All right, ladies and gents, for all our fans here in the U.S. and, of course, our fans internationally, thank you so much for being a part of this. Again, like, subscribe, follow on all our formats. WC Sports Pod, the Watercooler. Luke, Saba, thank you guys so much. Look forward to doing this with you again very shortly. And that's it. We'll catch you on the next one.
Go Tribe.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah! Victory! And anger management?
Fuck anger management.
Thank you for listening to Believe. You can show support to your host by subscribing to the show and giving us a 5-star rating on your preferred platform. Check us out at Believe.com and search for BLEAV on YouTube.
Hey, it's Michelle Beadle. That's right, the Michelle Beadle. You're welcome. You love talking about sports. I love talking about sports. You know the only thing cooler than talking about sports? Sports! And right now, all your favorite sports are on Sirius XM. I'm talking every NFL game, every game from the NBA, NHL, MLB, every NASCAR race, golf major conference college sports, and all the top games in the WNBA. If it gets your heart pumping, it's on Sirius XM. So start your free trial of Sirius XM today. Visit SiriusXM.com/believe.